True wealth shouldn't feel like a casino. It should feel like this. Imagine you are sitting in a comfortable chair next to a large window. Outside, a winter storm is raging. The wind is howling, the snow is blinding, and the temperature is dropping rapidly. It is chaotic. It is dangerous. It is unpredictable. But inside, you are holding a warm cup of coffee. You can feel the heat radiating from the fireplace. You can hear the crackle of the wood. You are completely safe. You are not worried about the storm outside because you know the walls are thick, the roof is strong, and you have enough firewood to last the entire season. You are not trying to predict when the storm will end. You are simply enjoying the warmth. This is exactly how your portfolio should feel. But for most people, investing feels like standing outside in the blizzard without a coat. Right now, in the year 2026, the economic climate feels incredibly cold. If you turn on the news, you hear the noise. You hear about the $38 trillion debt cycle. You hear about the invisible crash that is silently eroding the value of your currency. You see markets swinging violently, fueled by algorithms and artificial intelligence and pure human emotion. The world is shouting at you to buy, to sell, to panic, to react. Most investors are exhausted. They are waking up every morning to check their phones, hoping that a line on a graph has gone up, terrifyingly afraid that it has gone down. They are trying to predict the weather. They are trying to guess what the Federal Reserve will do next, or which tech stock will explode, or which currency will collapse. They are playing a game they cannot win because they are trying to beat the storm rather than survive it. I want to offer you a different path. It is a philosophy from the North, inspired by the concept of Hygge. It is not about chasing the highest possible return at the risk of your sanity. It is about building a financial life that is so robust, so well insulated, and so balanced that the chaos of the outside world simply cannot touch you. This is not just about making money. This is about designing a life where you do not have to think about money. It is about constructing a portfolio that acts as a shelter. When the market crashes, you do not freeze. When inflation rises, you do not starve. You simply add another log to the fire and go back to sleep. In this video, we are going to build that shelter together. We are going to look at the 3 layers of a winter-proof portfolio. We will discuss the foundation of safety that keeps you warm, the walls of growth that protect your future, and the insulation of real assets that keeps the value in. We are going to strip away the noise and the hype and focus on the only thing that matters, which is long-term, unbreakable stability. If you are tired of the noise and you are ready to build something that lasts, I invite you to settle in. Take a deep breath. Welcome to Mindset for Wealth. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to join the few who prioritize peace over panic. Let us begin. Let us talk about the weather outside. You feel it, do you not? It is not just a feeling. It is a reality that is slowly seeping into every household and every bank account. The year 2026 has arrived with a very specific kind of chill. If you look at the headlines, they are screaming about record highs and new technologies, but underneath the surface, there is a current that feels unstable. We are living through what I have called the invisible crash. It is not a crash where the stock market drops 50% in a single day and everyone panics on television. That would be a loud storm, and loud storms are easy to see. This is different. This is a silent storm. The storm is made of debt. The United States is quietly erasing $38 trillion of obligations through the subtle mechanism of currency devaluation. The storm is made of inflation that is stickier than they promised. It is the realization that the money in your savings account buys less milk, less gas, and less freedom than it did 5 years ago. This is the wind that is blowing against the walls of your financial house. The mistake that most people make when they feel this cold draft is panic. They realize their cash is losing value, so they run out into the blizzard, desperately looking for heat. They chase the hottest artificial intelligence stocks. They throw their savings into speculative crypto coins because they feel they need to double their money just to stay warm. They are trying to outrun the winter. But when you run on ice, you slip. When you try to get rich quickly because you are afraid of getting poor slowly, you usually end up freezing to death. The Nordic perspective is entirely different. In the north, we do not act surprised when the temperature drops. We do not stand in the snow and complain that it is cold. We do not try to command the sun to come back out in the middle of January. We accept the season. We understand that winter is a necessary part of the cycle. It clears away the excess. It tests the foundation. It quiets the noise. Instead of running around trying to find a heat source, we simply put on a heavier coat. We insulate our windows. We focus on what we can control. The global economy will do what it will do. The Federal Reserve will print or they will tighten. You cannot change the weather, but you can change the quality of your shelter. If you build your portfolio correctly, it does not matter if it is raining or shining outside. You are comfortable either way. This mindset shift is critical. You must stop looking at the market as a casino where you place bets and start looking at it as an environment where you must build a structure. And every structure begins with a strong foundation that keeps the fire burning. Let us talk about the fire. In every cabin, the hearth is the center of the home. It is where you go to get warm. It is the source of light. Without it, the house is just a cold box. In your financial life, this hearth is your liquidity. For the last decade, Wall Street has told you a lie. They told you that cash is trash. They told you that if your money is not invested in a high-growth stock or a risky venture, it is dying. They made you feel guilty for holding safety. But in a storm, cash is not trash. Cash is firewood. When the snow is falling and the power goes out, you do not care about the appraisal value of your house. You care about whether you have enough wood to keep the fire burning through the night. This is what we call the Firewood Strategy. Right now, you can find short-term government treasuries that pay you simply to exist. They offer a guaranteed return of around 4 or 5%. Many people look at this and say it is too low. They say they want 20%. They want to double their money. But they are missing the point. The purpose of this firewood is not to make you rich overnight. Its purpose is to make you unbreakable. When you have 6 to 12 months of living expenses sitting in safe, liquid, interest-bearing instruments, you change psychologically. You stop making decisions out of fear. If the stock market crashes tomorrow, you do not panic. Why would you? You do not need to sell your stocks to buy groceries. You have your firewood. You can let your long-term investments sit there and recover while you sit by the warm fire of your guaranteed yields. This is the secret that the wealthy understand. They do not hold cash because they are stupid. They hold cash because it gives them the power to say no. It gives them the ability to sleep well. It is the buffer between them and the chaos. So, look at your portfolio today. Do you have enough wood stacked up? Do you have that emergency fund that allows you to ignore the storm? If the answer is no, stop buying stocks. Stop chasing trends. Build your fire first. Once the hearth is warm, and only then, can we step away from the fire and look at the walls that will build your future wealth. Now that the fire is burning and you are safe, we must look at the walls of your house. In the Nordics, there is a word that defines the perfect state of existence. That word is Lagom. It translates roughly to not too little, not too much, but just right. It is the art of sufficiency. In the world of investing, most people violate the law of Lagom. They live in extremes. On one side, you have the gamblers. They put 100% of their money into volatile technology stocks or unproven cryptocurrencies. This is like building a house made of glass. It is beautiful when the sun shines, but the moment a stone is thrown or the wind blows too hard, it shatters. It is too fragile. On the other side, you have the fearful. They keep everything in gold bars buried in the garden or cash under the mattress. This is like building a house without windows. It is safe. Yes, but it is cold and it is dark and nothing ever grows there. It is too stagnant. The Lagom investor builds walls that are solid but functional. They do not try to find the one magical stock that will make them a billionaire. They simply buy the entire market. They invest in broad, boring index funds that own thousands of the best companies in the world. Or they buy shares in companies that have paid dividends for 50 years without fail. These are companies that sell toothpaste, electricity, and insurance. They are not exciting. You will never hear your friends bragging about them at a dinner party. But these assets are the thick timber walls of your financial cabin. They are sturdy. They withstand the storms of 2026 just as they withstood the storms of 2008. They do not require you to check on them. In fact, they work best when you ignore them. There is a profound silence to this kind of wealth. While the trader is screaming at his screen because his stock dropped 10% in an hour, your walls are quietly growing. They are compounding. It is a slow process, almost invisible to the naked eye, like a tree adding a new ring to its trunk every winter. You cannot see the ring forming today, but in 10 years, the tree will be massive. This is the hardest part for the modern mind to accept. We are addicted to action. We feel that to make more money, we must do more work. We must click buttons. We must read reports. But the Lagom method teaches us the opposite. The less you touch your portfolio, the stronger it grows. The less you disturb the seed, the deeper the roots can go. Your job is not to dismantle the walls every time the wind blows. Your job is to trust the structure you have built. Even with a warm fire and strong walls, a house can still freeze if the wind can get through the cracks. In economics, we call these drafts inflation. We call them currency devaluation. It is the silent thief that enters your home without breaking the door. You might feel safe because your stock portfolio is going up by 8%, but if the cost of living goes up by 10%, you are actually freezing. You are losing heat faster than you can generate it. This is the reality of the invisible storm we are living through. The numbers on the screen get bigger, but the feeling of wealth gets smaller. This is why we need insulation. In a winterproof portfolio, insulation comes in the form of real assets, things that you can touch, things that have existed long before central banks and will exist long after them. This is where gold plays a role. Many people misunderstand gold. They buy it hoping to become wealthy. But gold is not an investment for profit. It is an insurance policy for warmth. It sits in the walls of your portfolio, doing absolutely nothing, just like fiberglass insulation does nothing. But when the currency loses its value, when the cold draft comes in, gold traps the heat. It preserves your purchasing power. Then there is real estate. In the Nordic mindset, a home is not a ticker symbol. It is not something you flip every 2 years to make a quick profit. That is speculation. And speculation is just another form of gambling. Real estate is utility. It is shelter. If you own your own roof, you have removed one of the biggest variables from your life. You have insulated yourself from the rising cost of rent, commodities, energy, the things the world actually needs to function. These are the materials that keep the cold out. They are not glamorous. You cannot trade them on your phone in 5 seconds for a dopamine hit. But when the financial system catches a cold, real assets stay healthy. You do not need a lot of insulation. You do not need to turn your entire house into a gold vault. That would be a violation of Lagom. It would be too much. You just need enough to seal the cracks, enough to ensure that the wealth you build inside your walls stays inside your walls. When you have this, you stop worrying about what the dollar is doing. You are sealed tight. Let us stand by the window for a moment and look out. We have built the fire. We have raised the walls. We have insulated the cracks. The structure is complete. But the final piece of the puzzle is not about the house. It is about the person living inside it. It is about you. In Scandinavia, there is a cultural concept known as the law of Jante. It is a set of unspoken rules that prioritizes the collective over the individual. It teaches humility. It says, do not think you are special. Do not think you are smarter than everyone else. In the world of investing, this is the most powerful mindset you can adopt. The arrogant investor stands by the window and screams at the storm. He believes he can time the market. He believes he can pick the one winning stock out of thousands. He believes he is smarter than the millions of other people trying to do the exact same thing. And usually, the storm destroys him. The Hygge investor is humble. We admit that we cannot predict the future. We admit that we cannot beat the algorithmic supercomputers on Wall Street. So we do not try. We simply accept the market returns. We accept that we are average. And by accepting that we are average and holding our position for decades, we end up achieving results that are extraordinary. But to maintain this humility, you must protect your mind. The storm outside is loud, but it only enters your home if you open the window. In the modern world, your phone is that open window. Every notification, every price alert, Every breaking news banner is a gust of freezing wind blowing into your living room. You must perform a digital detox. If you are checking your portfolio every day, you are not investing. You are anxious. You do not check the foundation of your physical house every morning to make sure it is still there. You trust it. You should treat your wealth the same way. Check it once a season. That is enough. Here is the final test to know if you have truly mastered the Hygge mindset. It is the coffee test. Sit down with a cup of coffee and look at your portfolio. How does your body feel? If your heart beats faster, if your stomach tightens, if you feel an urge to sell or buy, then your position is too big. You have let the cold in. But if you look at your money and you feel bored, if you feel like nothing is happening, if you feel like you could close the laptop and go for a walk in the snow without a second thought, then you have won. You have built a shelter that is stronger than the storm. You have found peace in a world of chaos. So, there you have it. The storm of 2026 may be raging outside, but inside your financial house, it is quiet. We have built a shelter that does not rely on luck. We have stacked our firewood with cash and short-term treasuries, ensuring that we never have to sell our assets out of fear. We have built thick walls with broad market index funds and quality dividend payers, allowing our wealth to grow slowly and surely over decades. And we have insulated the cracks with real assets like gold and property, protecting our hard work from the silent theft of inflation. You do not need to be a genius to build this. You do not need to watch the news every hour. You simply need the discipline to be boring. You need the courage to do less when everyone else is trying to do more. True wealth is not the number on the screen. It is the ability to sit in silence, drink your coffee, and know that no matter how hard the wind blows, your fire will not go out. That is the definition of freedom. And that is the only wealth worth having. If this atmosphere resonates with you, if you prefer the quiet path to riches, please leave a coffee cup emoji in the comments below. It lets me know that you are part of this community. Subscribe to the channel, turn off your notifications, and enjoy the peace. I will see you in the next video.